Morning, everybody. It's Andrew Willox from the Borderline podcast here on World Mental Health Day 2024. And of course, it's something that I want to come on and talk about today. It's often whispered about, brushed under the carpet, or kept behind closed doors, and that is, of course, mental health. And it's a topic that touches each of us in some sort of way, and yet too often we treat it as a dark cloud hovering over our society, something to be ignored until it erupts into an almighty storm. But what about if we approached it differently? What about if we faced that cloud, understood it, and learned to walk through the rain to see that sunshine? And I'm Sander, sit before you today, not just as a podcaster, a speaker, an advocate, but as someone who's walked through that rain. My own journey with mental health has been a long and winding road. I've seen the depths of anxiety, I've felt the weight of the depression, and I've struggled with inner battles while the world around me carried on. And trust me, some days it felt like I was a tree in the middle of a hurricane. My branches were breaking, my leaves were scattered, and my roots were desperately trying to hold on to see out that storm. And I know I'm not alone. In fact, none of us are. According to the World Health Organization, nearly 1 billion people worldwide will form some sort of mental disorder. That's 1 in 8 people. And think about that for a second. In any room that you enter, many of us, friends, colleagues, family members, maybe strangers, there's a very high probability that some of those people are carrying burdens that they will never speak of. So to help them speak about it, let me share a little bit of my own story. And in my early years, I didn't really have the words to describe what was happening to me. It just felt wrong, like a puzzle piece that just didn't fit into that puzzle to form that picture. I'd go through the motions of life, school, work, relationships, out with weekends, having a great time, but as if I was doing this behind glass, watching the world around me, being trapped inside my own. There were moments when I tried to fight it, but mental health isn't something that you can battle in the way that we think. You don't conquer anxiety by ignoring it, and you certainly don't defeat depression with sheer willpower alone. And as much as I've tried to snap out of it, it's as if I've felt that I was caught in quicksand, and the more I fought, the deeper I sank. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And what lies within us is our mental well-being, the very core of how we experience the world today. And when that well-being is compromised, it distorts our reality." I remember times when I thought that I was the only one in this world, isolated in my own little problem, in my own little corner. But I've since learned that the silence is one of the most dangerous aspects of mental health, and silence tells us that we're alone. Silence makes us think that we're asking for help is a sign of weakness, but silence lies. Every one of us here is a storyteller, whether we realize it or not. Our experiences with mental health are our stories, and we must be able to tell them, because when we do, we dismantle that stigma. We make the invisible visible, and we allow others to realize that they are not alone. Let's talk about that stigma for just a moment. Mental health issues are often likened to weaknesses, instability, or something shameful. But would you ever tell somebody with a broken leg just to go walk it off? Of course you wouldn't. So when it comes to the mind, arguably our most important asset, many of us hesitate to treat it with the same care and understanding. Why? Because mental health has long been misunderstood. It's the unseen wound, and we as a society often have a harder time empathizing with things that we just can't see. But just because it's unseen doesn't make it any less real. Imagine a glass bottle floating away in the ocean. That bottle represents each of us, strong, resilient, and seemingly unaffected by the waves crashing around it. But what we often forget is what's inside that bottle, and it's just as important as the structure. If it's filled with darkness, turmoil, and hopelessness, it weighs the bottle down and it makes that harder to stay afloat. Mental health is just about what's inside that bottle. We simply cannot fix the outer structure and expect it to be well, and we must care for what's within. And the only way to do that is to open the bottle, to let some air in, some light, and most importantly, a connection. In my own personal journey, I found that opening up, reaching out, and accepting the help that was the hardest step, but also the most liberating. And it's like taking that cap off the bottle, letting the air rush in for the first time, and with every breath, the weight of what I'd been carrying became so much lighter. To those who may feel like they're drowning within their own storm, I want you to know this. You're not broken, you are not weak, and you are certainly not alone. There is light beyond that storm, but we must be willing to reach out and allow others to help us find it. I want to close with a quote from Leonard Cohen, and that is, "There's a crack in everything, but that's how light gets in." We all have our cracks, we all have our struggles, but it's through those cracks that we can heal. It's through those cracks that the light of compassion, understanding, and ultimately hope can re-enter our lives. Mental health does not have to be a silent struggle. Let's open the conversation, let's break the silence, let's break down the stigmas, and together, let's let some light in. Thank you very much.